Zainab's hands trembled violently as she stared at Kemi lying still on the floor. "Kemi, get up, please," she whispered, her voice breaking as she shook her. There was no response. No movement. Just a silence so heavy it felt like it was crushing her chest. Her breath came in short, uneven bursts. This wasn't supposed to happen. "I didn't mean to," but even as she said it, the truth lingered in the air. Everything had led to this moment. And it all started with him. Zainab and Kemi had been best friends for as long as anyone could remember. From their teenage years into adulthood, they did everything together. If you saw one, the other was never far behind. They laughed the loudest, argued the fastest, and forgave each other even quicker. "See, if any man comes between us, I'll fight you," Kemi once joked. Zainab laughed. Please, no man is worth that kind of stress. They believed that. At least, they thought they did. Until Daniel came into the picture. Kemi was the first to mention him. She came to Zainab glowing with excitement, her eyes bright in a way Zainab hadn't seen in a long time. "I met someone," she said, trying to hide her smile. Zainab raised an eyebrow. "Another one? This one is different." Zainab laughed. They're always different, until they're not. But when she finally met Daniel, she understood what Kemi meant. He was calm, confident without trying too hard. The kind of man who listened carefully before he spoke. When he looked at you, it felt like you mattered. "I've heard a lot about you," Daniel said to Zainab, smiling slightly. "Hopefully only good things," she replied. "Only the best." Everything about him seemed perfect. At first, Zainab didn't think much of it. He was Kemi's boyfriend, nothing more. But Daniel had a way of making people feel comfortable. Included. Important. It started with something simple. A message. "Hey, are you awake?" Zainab stared at her phone that night, surprised to see his name. She hesitated before replying. "Yes. What's up?" "Just checking on you. You seem quiet today." She frowned slightly. "I'm fine." I don't think so. You don't strike me as someone who is always fine." Zainab smiled faintly at the message. It felt oddly personal. "Maybe you're right," she typed back. That was how it began. The messages became frequent. Casual at first, then slowly more personal. "What are you thinking about?" "You don't talk much when Kemi is around." "I feel like there's more to you." Zainab found herself replying more than she intended. Laughing at his jokes. Waiting for his messages without even realizing it. One night, the conversation shifted. "Do you ever feel like people don't really understand you?" Daniel asked. Zainab paused before replying. "Sometimes." "I feel like that with Kemi," he said. Zainab frowned. "What do you mean?" "She's great, but I don't think she really sees me." Zainab hesitated. "She talks about you all the time, though. She really likes you." Liking someone and understanding them are two different things. That line stayed with her. "Do you feel understood?" he asked again. Zainab stared at her screen, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. "Not always," she admitted. "I understand you," he replied. Her heart skipped. No one had ever said that to her before. From that moment, something changed. Daniel's words began to carry weight. More than they should have. The next time the three of them hung out, Zainab noticed something strange. Kemi interrupted her mid-sentence. It was something small. Something that had probably happened 100 times before. But this time, it felt different. Later that night, Daniel sent a message. "Did you notice how she cut you off today?" Zainab frowned. "Not really." "I did. I notice everything about you." Her chest tightened slightly. And, just like that, a seed was planted. One she didn't even realize was beginning to grow. The next few days felt different, though Zainab couldn't fully explain why. Nothing had really changed on the surface. She and Kemi still talked, still saw each other, but something underneath had shifted. Something quiet. Something unsettling. And Daniel was always there. "Good morning," his message popped up before she even got out of bed. "Morning," she replied. "You didn't sleep early." Zainab frowned. "How do you know?" "Your last scene." She hesitated, then smiled slightly. "You're observant." "I told you. I notice everything about you." That sentence lingered longer than it should have. As the days passed, Daniel's messages became more frequent, more personal. He asked questions no one had ever asked her before. What scares you? What do you really want in life? Do you ever feel like you're being overlooked? Zainab found herself opening up in ways she never had before. Things she hadn't even told Kemi, she told Daniel. And somehow, it felt easy. But with that closeness came something else. Doubt. It started small. One afternoon, the three of them were sitting together, laughing about something trivial. Zainab began telling a story, but halfway through, Kemi cut in, finishing her sentence and turning it into a joke. Everyone laughed. Zainab forced a smile. But this time, it didn't feel harmless. Later that night, Daniel messaged her. You went quiet today. I was fine, she replied. No, you weren't. Zainab sighed. It's not a big deal. She interrupted you again. Zainab paused. She always does that, Daniel continued. Like what you're saying doesn't matter as much. Zainab stared at the message, her chest tightening slightly. I'm sure she doesn't mean it like that, she typed. Maybe. Or maybe she's just used to being the center of attention. Zainab didn't reply immediately. Because for the first time, she wasn't sure. From that moment on, she started noticing more. Every interruption. Every joke Kemi made at her expense. Every moment that felt slightly off. Things that never bothered her before now felt intentional. Zainab, are you even listening? Kemi asked one day, snapping her out of her thoughts. What? Zainab blinked. I've been talking to you. Oh, sorry. Kemi studied her face. You've been distant lately. I'm just tired. But that wasn't the truth. The truth was, Zainab's mind was constantly replaying Daniel's words. She doesn't support you. She doesn't really see you. You deserve better. The more she thought about it, the more it started to make sense. Or at least, it felt like it did. One evening, Kemi called her. Let's hang out, she said. Just us. Like before. Zainab hesitated. I'm not really in the mood. There was a pause on the other end. Zainab, what is going on? Kemi asked softly. Nothing is going on. Then why does it feel like you're avoiding me? Zainab felt irritation rise in her chest. I'm not avoiding you. It feels like you are. Maybe you're just overthinking things, Zainab snapped. Silence. Then Kemi spoke, her voice quieter now. Did I do something to you? Zainab clenched her jaw. Why do you always make everything about you? The words came out sharper than she intended. Kemi went silent. I'm just asking because you're my friend, she said finally. Zainab didn't respond. Because part of her didn't want to hear it. That night, she told Daniel everything. She called me and started acting like I'm the problem, Zainab said over the phone, pacing her room. Daniel's voice was calm. That's what people do when they feel guilty. Guilty? Yeah. If she knows she hasn't been treating you right, she'll try to flip it on you. Zainab stopped pacing. You think so? I don't think. I know. There was a pause. You've been there for her all these years, Daniel continued. But has she really been there for you the same way? Zainab swallowed. She thought about all the times she had supported Kemi. Listened to her. Showed up for her. And suddenly, it felt one-sided. I don't know, she admitted. I do, Daniel said softly. You deserve better than that. His words wrapped around her thoughts, tightening their grip. And without realizing it, Zainab began to pull away completely. The distance between them was no longer subtle. It was obvious now, painfully obvious. Kemi felt it in every unanswered call, every short reply, every moment Zainab avoided her eyes. The friendship that once felt effortless now felt forced, like something slipping through her fingers no matter how tightly she tried to hold on. She refused to give up. One evening, she showed up at Zainab's place unannounced. When Zainab opened the door and saw her, she froze. Kemi, what are you doing here? I came to see you, Kemi said, her voice steady but her eyes searching. Because clearly, calling you isn't working. Zainab sighed, stepping aside reluctantly. I've just been busy. Kemi walked in slowly, studying her. Busy? Or avoiding me? Zainab shut the door harder than necessary. Why are you making this a big deal? Because it is a big deal. Kemi snapped, her voice rising. You're my best friend, Zainab. Or at least, you used to be. That hit something deep. Zainab's expression hardened. Maybe things change. Kemi blinked, clearly hurt. Change? Just like that? Without even telling me why. You wouldn't understand, Zainab muttered. Then make me understand. Kemi stepped closer. Talk to me. But Zainab shook her head. There's nothing to talk about. Kemi let out a frustrated breath. Is this about Daniel? The name hung in the air like a spark near gasoline. Zainab's eyes narrowed. What about him? I don't know, Kemi said honestly. But ever since he came into the picture, you've been acting different. That's not true. It is. Kemi insisted. Zainab, look at me. You've changed. Zainab laughed bitterly. Or maybe I'm just finally seeing things clearly. Kemi frowned. Seeing what? You, Zainab said, her voice sharp. The way you act. The way you treat me. Kemi stared at her, stunned. What are you talking about? You always interrupt me. You always make everything about you. You don't even support me the way I support you. Kemi took a step back, disbelief written all over her face. Zainab, where is all this coming from? The truth. Zainab snapped. Something you clearly don't like hearing. Kemi shook her head slowly. No, this isn't you. Someone is putting these ideas in your head. Zainab's jaw tightened. So now I can't think for myself? That's not what I'm saying. Then what are you saying? Zainab cut in. I'm saying this doesn't make sense. Kemi's voice broke slightly. We've been friends for years. We've been through everything together. And now suddenly, I'm the bad person. Zainab looked away. For a brief second, doubt flickered in her chest. But then Daniel's voice echoed in her mind. She'll try to manipulate you. She'll twist everything. Don't let her confuse you. Zainab straightened. Maybe you've always been this way. I just didn't see it before. Kemi's eyes filled with tears. Zainab, please. Listen to yourself. I am listening. Zainab shouted. No, you're not. Kemi shouted back. You're listening to someone else. Silence fell between them. Heavy. Suffocating. Then Kemi spoke again, quieter this time. Is it him? Zainab didn't answer. That was answer enough. Kemi let out a shaky breath. He's manipulating you. Zainab's head snapped up. Don't say that. It's true. Kemi said firmly. I've seen the way he acts. The way he talks. Zainab, something is not right about him. Stop it, Zainab warned. I'm serious. You don't even see it, but I do. He's changing you. I said stop. Zainab screamed. The room fell silent again. Kemi stared at her, tears slipping down her cheeks. You're choosing him over me? Zainab hesitated. Just for a second. But it was enough. Kemi nodded slowly, her heart breaking in real time. Wow, after everything. It's not like that, Zainab said quickly, though even she didn't believe it. Then what is it? Kemi asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Zainab didn't have an answer. And that was the problem. The tension snapped. Kemi stepped closer again. Zainab, listen to me. Whatever he's telling you. Don't come closer, Zainab said sharply. But Kemi didn't stop. You're making a mistake. Don't touch me. Zainab shouted as Kemi reached for her. I'm trying to help you. I don't need your help. The words exploded between them. And in the heat of the moment, Zainab pushed her. It wasn't supposed to be hard. It wasn't supposed to mean anything. But it did. Kemi lost her balance. Fell backward. And everything changed. Kemi's body hit the floor with a dull, sickening sound. For a moment, everything froze. Zainab stood there, her hand still slightly extended, her breath caught somewhere between her chest and her throat. Kemi, she called softly, like this was all some kind of mistake. No answer. Kemi? Her voice grew louder, shaky now. She rushed forward and dropped to her knees beside her. Stop playing. This isn't funny. She gently shook her. Nothing. Her hands started trembling again, worse this time. Kemi, get up. Please, get up. Her voice cracked into panic as she shook her harder. Still nothing. That was when the fear truly set in. Zainab staggered back slightly, her heart racing uncontrollably. No, 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 no. She grabbed her phone with unsteady hands and dialed the only person she believed could fix this. Daniel. He picked up on the second ring. Zainab, I think something is wrong, she stammered, her voice barely holding together. Kemi, she's not waking up. There was a pause. What happened? He asked calmly. I didn't mean to. We were arguing and I pushed her and she fell and now she's not moving. Zainab's words tumbled out in a rush. Another pause. Then, I'm coming. The line went dead. Zainab sat there, staring at Kemi's body, her mind spiraling. Every second felt like an hour. Every thought collided into another. This wasn't real. This couldn't be real. When Daniel finally arrived, he stepped into the room and took in the scene with one quick glance. His expression didn't change. Zainab rushed to him. Daniel, do something. She's not waking up. He didn't panic. He didn't even look surprised. Instead, he walked over slowly and looked down at Kemi. Then back at Zainab. You need to calm down, he said quietly. Zainab stared at him in disbelief. Calm down? She's not breathing. I said calm down, he repeated, his tone firmer now. Something about the way he said it made her freeze. Her breathing slowed slightly, but her mind was still racing. What do we do? She whispered. Daniel didn't answer immediately. Instead, he pulled out his phone. As he did, the screen lit up. A message popped up. Zainab's eyes shifted to it without thinking. And, in that moment, everything cracked. Do you ever feel like your best friend is secretly against you? Her stomach dropped. Those words. She knew those words. Slowly, as if pulled by something she couldn't control, she reached for his phone. Daniel, who is this? She asked, her voice trembling. He didn't respond. She opened the message, then scrolled. Her hands began to shake again, but this time, not from panic. From realization. Different names. Different conversations. But the same pattern. The same questions. The same manipulation. You don't feel understood, do you? She doesn't support you the way you deserve. I see you. Zainab's breathing became uneven again. No, no, no. She looked up at him, her eyes wide with horror. You said all these things to me. Daniel remained silent. You said I was different, she continued, her voice rising. You said you understood me. I do, he replied calmly. Her face twisted in disbelief. No, you don't. You've done this before. Silence. That's what this is, isn't it? She said, her voice breaking. You turn people against each other. You make them doubt everything, and then you just, what? Watch. Daniel slipped his phone back into his pocket. You made your own choices, Zainab. The words hit harder than anything else. Her knees felt weak. You manipulated me, she whispered. I showed you what was already there, he said. Tears streamed down her face. You lied to me. I told you what you needed to hear. Zainab shook her head slowly, backing away from him. You used me. He didn't deny it. And that was the worst part. Sirens echoed faintly in the distance. Zainab's head snapped toward the sound. Did you call the police? Daniel didn't answer. He just turned and walked toward the door. Wait, she shouted. You can't just leave. But he didn't stop. And, just like that, he was gone. By the time the police arrived, there was nothing left to hide. The truth unfolded quickly. The messages. The argument. The push. Kemi was gone. And Zainab was responsible. As she sat in the back of the police car, her hands cuffed, tears streaming endlessly down her face, one thought refused to leave her mind. If she had trusted her best friend, instead of him, none of this would have happened. And now, it was too late. If this story shook you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, do you think Zainab was a victim, or did she ignore the warning signs?